This is the end of September, and we are visiting my cousin Kurt's farm in Plymouth, Indiana. And today we are answering the long-awaited question: is it worth it growing in caterpillar tunnels? Let's find out. In today's video, we're going to cover three things: how to get started growing in the greenhouse, what are the benefits of it, and then lastly what are the disadvantages. So let's get started. This is my cousin Kurt.
Hello.
And we are here at his farm, and we're going to find out a few questions. We have a few questions prepared, and the first one is it worth it growing in the caterpillar tunnels? So another name for them are high tunnels, right? High tunnels.
High tunnels. Some people call them greenhouses if they're heated. If
someone is trying to, get one, how would one go about trying to get one? Like, where do you order? Like, do you go to Walmart and buy one? Where do you get one?
You probably can, and you can go online and buy a lot of cheap ones. But I would recommend, if you're planning on using it and using it long term, that you either go to a produce supply company to get your greenhouses, because they'll have a higher quality steel in your greenhouse, and it'll make it last through a lot more weather conditions. Wind is terrible on these things. And if you have government assistance in your area, I did get this greenhouse through the USDA. They had a government program where it's with Soil and Conservation Company or group, and they allow you to grow in the greenhouse if you do certain things, i.e. plant a cover crop after you pull your crop.
Okay.
And they want you to do soil safe, healthy things for your soil. So putting down the correct kind of fertilizers and that sort of thing. So you have to follow their guidelines for 3 years, and then they'll pay for your greenhouse for you. And then after that, the greenhouse is yours. You can use it as you want.
After the 3 years?
Yep.
Okay.
One of the conditions is you have to plant in ground in the greenhouse. You can't bring in pots and raise flowers and do that kind of thing. You have to use the ground that's inside. Interesting.
Okay. When did you start your farm?
2016 is when we purchased the property. Okay. And so I've really only been raising in greenhouses for probably this will be the 4th year that I've been doing it.
And how many did you start out with? Like, how many?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah, I had just one.
Is that what they provide just one?
No, I bought the one myself first. The first one I just bought myself because I had a friend who taught me how to raise tomatoes. By doing that, I was able to buy that greenhouse, get it started, start raising tomatoes in it.
So after that, then you just buy...
I got the second one funded through the government. I found out about a program that we had, so I got that second one funded. And then I have a couple other smaller ones that I bought off of a blueberry production place up in Michigan that went out of business, and I just bought theirs.
Okay, we talked about how to get started getting a tunnel, and then let's talk about the advantages. So let's come inside. So tell us like some of the advantages of like why would we grow in a tunnel versus like outside?
Well, there's a couple things. One, you can control watering, especially on like tomatoes. You can control how much water they get. A lot of times on tomatoes, if they have a variant water, like they get dry and then they get a whole bunch of water, they just crack. They just crack instantly. Well, in a high tunnel, you can control the natural rainwater they get by you control how much water they get, and you can do that really consistently. Okay. They don't crack. The other thing is we use a drip system on the tomatoes, and I can fertilize the tomatoes through that drip system. That does a couple things for you. One, it lets you get the same amount of fertilizer to all the plants so that you're not having a high fertilizer area in one spot and low in another. So it lets you do really consistent fertilizing. The other thing is in a greenhouse, I put down cover everywhere, so it helps do weed control in a greenhouse, and it also helps preserve the moisture that's there. It keeps it from evaporating so quickly, so you can get, you know, even watering and even fertilization. So are these the pipes? Yep, those are the drip lines. Tape right here. Okay, yep. That's the sample of one of them. So this is like the end piece, right? And then you have it. Yep, I have a supply line at the other end, and then this is just, if you look at the other side, it has little holes in it, little. And so how close are they? Like an inch? These are about a foot apart. Yep. Okay. So, and they just allow a certain amount of gallons per hour to drip. So you can. It also probably decreases a little bit of your overall time of watering. Is it on a timer? I have it. I just time it myself. It's not on a timer. You can get timers for them. I just don't. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is nice because tomatoes, they like what? They love heat, and then they don't like water on their leaves, right? Because like a lot of it you can you can really cut down on the diseases that happen. Fungal. Yep. The other advantage is you have a controlled area, so you also can control pests and other animals like deer that get into my tomatoes. I had them outside first, and they just would come in. They would eat the top off this plant every time. Yeah. And then they would just bush out from the bottom all the time. You would never really get good fruit. So. Well, like in the spring, I have rabbits that try to come and get my garden. So do you have the windows, you know, the sides closed? All the time in the spring, because you're controlling the temperature. Tomatoes don't want to drop below 60. I start these tomatoes in March, and it's cold outside. Like you plant them out? I plant them here in March. Yeah. And so we have tomatoes by June. So yeah. So you're we're in zone 6B. Actually, I think we're in 5 in this one. Yeah. We're 6B. Yeah, you're a little further south than us. So you're zone 5. Yeah, we're in zone 5, and so it's cold till for a while after I plant these. So I keep the sides down to keep the breezes off the plants, to control the temperature, keep it at around 60. That is crazy. Yeah. So this is end of September, and I mean, you still have tons of tomatoes. Did you turn the water off? Are you done? No, I'm not done yet. Okay. These plants look pretty sad right now. They're really tired. We've taken about 6,000 pounds of tomatoes out of here so far. Huge. And we're about done because we're starting on our pumpkin season. So we're about done with produce. Are you doing the same variety? Are all these the same? All the same variety. These are all red deuce. Red deuce. That's crazy. Do you ever have to do a shade cloth? I don't. This year would have been an advantage because we had a lot of hot times in the summer. Yeah. But shade cloths are pretty expensive, a little laborsome to put on. So I use fans and when you roll up the sides, you can keep it pretty cool, a lot cooler than you could if otherwise. Yeah. But it was hot. And that is one of the disadvantages that we'll talk about later. Yeah. So how late can your season extend? Like say if you still wanted to grow these tomatoes, you started them in March, right? Mm-hmm. When? Early March? If I was really pushing for just doing vegetables and I wanted to keep these tomatoes, I could actually go through November probably. That's when the sunlight will get short enough that the tomatoes won't really ripen. That is crazy. Are these indeterminate, so they'll just keep on going? No, they're not indeterminate, but even being a determinate variety, if you feed them well and keep them watered, they'll keep producing. That is insane. They just don't grow as tall. That is such a long season from March till November. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. That is a big advantage actually, because I know like tomatoes, cucumbers, right? And then like melons and stuff, right? Like watermelon or cantaloupe, they love the heat. They do. But see, they don't keep producing very well, so you're going to get a one-time crop off of those more than you will like tomatoes and cucumbers and some of those other things. That is crazy. Okay, I love it. Let's keep going. Maybe we can go look in the other one. Did you have peppers? I have a few peppers and cucumbers growing right now. Okay.
So what are the main things that you're trying to grow in your tunnels that's worth it for you to extend the season and whatnot?
You mentioned them. Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I have a cherry tomato greenhouse here as well. We might stick our heads in there, and they're still producing like crazy.
Yeah.
And then we had lettuce. I did a lot of lettuce early in the season. That's, again, you can get really started when it's cool out and get lettuce started.
When is your first frost date?
Frost free date? Is that, or the frost free date is like beginning of first week in May, second week in May.
That's great.
So we're starting in March. That's a lot before that frost free date.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Okay, so we're gonna look at your other greenhouse, and then what are you growing here?
Well, in most greenhouses, you can grow pretty much anything you like. What I like to grow is we have cucumbers, I have peppers. We had lettuce in here, which we mentioned earlier, was some lettuce that we grow about 1,000 head of lettuce through here.
Wow.
We grew green beans, and I grew both bush beans and pole beans in here.
Yeah.
We grew some peas, and so a couple more types of tomatoes in here is what we did.
Wow.
And then I've also grown in another greenhouse flowers and cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes. So just pretty much anything you want to grow, you can grow outside. It just allows you to get it earlier.
So I bet the peppers are going crazy in here, huh? Like they're loving all this heat.
They do like the heat. It took me a long time to get them going this season, but once they went, they're getting too big. I should have staked them. I did all my hot peppers outside because, again, they do pretty well outside. So stuff that and I don't necessarily need to sell those early. So
okay,
I did them outside just because I could.
Right.
That's the thing. You're limited when you put up a greenhouse, what you can and can't do in it by the space. So you're trying to optimize your space and grow the things that you're going to get a better price for by getting them out early.
How big is this? What are the dimensions?
This is a 30 by 96 greenhouse.
30 by 96.
Yeah, high tunnel. And basically what makes it a greenhouse is the furnace, which you see behind me. So in a high tunnel that's not heated, it will get, any day that it's sunny, it will get up to 85 degrees, even if it's 10 below outside. It will get 85 degrees in here. So you have to, but at night, as soon as the sun goes down, if it's 10 degrees outside, it's gonna be 10 degrees in here. So if you're not heating, you're going to have to really protect your plants that are inside the high tunnel to make sure they don't freeze.
The one thing I wanted to ask you, since you're starting your season early, right? Like in March, and you're planting tomatoes, peppers, what are you doing with like pollinators? Like who's pollinating your stuff? Are you hand pollinating everything?
Most of the stuff that I grow in here are greenhouse safe stuff that are, it's a self-pollinating varieties that don't require pollination.
Interesting.
The tomatoes I have over there do require pollination, but all they require is a little bit of movement to pollinate. And that's what probably most of these are in here, is they just require a little bit of breeze or movement and they'll pollinate themselves. So
what about the bees you were telling me about?
If you have stuff that needs bees to pollinate in your greenhouses, you are able to buy a hive of like bumblebees and put them in your greenhouse.
That's
and
so cool.
They will pollinate. You just have to be careful that you have enough blooms or the bees will damage the crop because they are so active on the few blooms that you have that they'll damage the fruit. So.
Interesting. So you're trying to time that when you order the bees or when you let them out?
Exactly. It's not when you let them out, but it's when they'll send them to you and you have to within a week get them opened up. So you have to make sure there's enough blooms out when you get them.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to show us the fertilizing system you have?
Yeah, basically I use an injector. So what we do is we put fertilizer in a bucket and water, mix it up so it's all liquid, it's no solids.
Okay.
And then you put a siphoning system. You turn on this water, it puts water into the blue hose. The blue hose then fills up, pressurizes the drip lines. So, and then you're siphoning the fertilizer out of the bucket into the line and injecting it into the system.
So that's like your control, because you can see how much
yes.
you put in there.
Yeah, you know basically how much you need to provide a week to your plants. You divide that by 2 or 3, and you fertilize 2 or 3 times a week to make sure that you're getting plenty of stuff injected.
So your tomatoes, like how often do you fertilize them?
I fertilize them 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yep, and I water them usually 3 to 4 times a week. So
wow, okay. And like cucumbers, are they kind of like the same where it's 3
a little
times
bit?
a week?
Yeah. Some of the things vary a little bit, and like right now at the end of the season, we're not watering near as much as what we would do during the prime of the season. But we're trying to just. I put these in late season because I needed. I had a contract that I needed to do a lot of cucumbers, and I didn't quite have enough with what I had planted earlier, so I just stuck these in just a few weeks ago.
Okay,
and
so these are later.
These are way late compared to what I should have done, But yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're all looking great. They have blooms. They're all producing.
When we've already taken probably 300 cucumbers off of here.
That's crazy.
So
right now it's probably like what, 80s outside? Do you have like a thermometer in here? Like
I don't, but it's probably, we turned the fans off so we could talk.
Yeah.
And it's probably getting upwards of close to 100 degrees in here right now.
Yeah, I feel that. That's crazy.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to turn the fans back on.
Okay, Kurt, you told us the advantages of growing in the high tunnels.
Yep.
What would be considered some of the disadvantages?
Well, some disadvantages is if you do get a pest problem in the greenhouse, aphids or something like that, you are limited what you're allowed to spray inside a greenhouse because of your workers and some of that kind of stuff. You don't want to use a real toxic spray at all if you can. And if you can use natural stuff, that's the best, obviously. But if you can't get them under control, you have to use something that's safe to use in a greenhouse.
Okay.
And another disadvantage is if you do have animals get in or something, they can do quite a bit of damage in a short period of time because you're limited on the number of things that you can put in a greenhouse. So if they eat 30 plants, that could be, half of what you planted in there, so that's another tough situation in there. One of the disadvantages in hot areas, it really does heat up a lot. Quicker, it's hard to keep your plants cool. For example, my tomatoes this year, we had a stretch of time where we were over 90 for a week and a half every day, and it did not cool down very much at night. It sterilized some of my pollen in my tomatoes. And so that section of time where I would have had tomatoes, I didn't get any tomatoes. So it's really difficult to keep them cool because you don't want to run an air conditioner inside a greenhouse. It just isn't going to be very efficient. I use fans, I open them up, so try and keep them as cool as I can, but sometimes it's just hot.
Okay. Yeah. And what about like maintenance or like setting up the greenhouse? Like how many people did you have like set up let's say one of those?
Yep. Well, it was kind of a stagey thing, but we kind of assembled it all on the ground. I had 2 or 3 of my kids helping me do that. And then to set them up, we had 3 of us to get because you have to put the pipes in and then you got to set the arches on top of the side pipes. So you have to have something that can lift them up that high. So I used a tractor and somebody else on each side. So it took 3 of us to assemble those. And then the day, you have to find a good calm day to put this plastic on because it's the biggest kite you've ever seen. So if you get 4 or 5 people to help you do that, to get it stretched and pulled across and then put it in place, it just usually takes more than just yourself to try and do it, for sure. So, if it's a big one like this.
Right. Is there like maintenance that you have throughout the year that you have to do with this?
Not as much maintenance on that. Yeah, your normal furnace maintenances and fan maintenances and that kind of stuff. But after about 3 to 5 years, and this one is 5 years old, this plastic.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
It needs to be replaced. And so you need to pull it all off and put on brand new plastic so that, because it limits the amount of sun that can get through it. It starts getting clouded.
Oh,
and that's why you need to replace it. So, or if it gets tore in a storm or something like that.
How do you choose like the thickness? Is there like a specific?
Yeah, I just go with the manufacturer's recommendation on that. So, and there's a company, again, a produce supply company that I go to, and he gives me the stuff I need. So So yeah, and I have obviously, since I have fans and everything running, I have power run to this. So you're going to have access to a power system. So if you don't have that, that's a bit of a disadvantage, because you won't be able to cool it as well.
And like with water, are you on a well that you have to dig things up?
I'm actually on city water on this
Okay.
land. So I actually use city water. I could have driven a well out here, but we have a lot of iron. And so if you do have a well with some mineral issues, you're going to clog your drip lines a lot quicker. So that is something you have to look at and just be prepared for. It's not too hard to switch out lines. You can just tie it to one end, drag it through the whole line and replace it. But it's something you need to look at, because if you don't, we had a problem, mixed a couple fertilizers together that weren't supposed to be mixed, and it gelled the lines, plugged my lines, and I didn't realize that we had done that. So I went for a week and a half without my tomatoes getting much water, and that's kind of what stressed them pretty bad. So
yeah,
you really have to pay attention to how much water is getting through your drip lines, whether it's mineral deposits or fertilizer or something blocking it.
Okay. So the drip lines, you don't really have to replace them as often. I mean, in case they're broken, right? But like they can stay there for a long time.
They can stay there and for as long as the drippers are working. So once the drippers stop working, you got to replace them.
Like how often do you have to replace them, and like why? How long have you?
Oh, I do them every year.
Oh,
you basically, after you use, a matter of fact, it'll be the third set of them that I've put in this year, and the tomato ones, because we had the clog. But I used 2, and then I replaced it one more time. So it's something, it's not real expensive. It's not really great on the environment. I don't like that, but it's one of the only ways to really get a good watering system in there. So,
interesting.
But yeah, you can pull them out and put new ones in, and they're a one season use, because you just don't want to take a chance of them getting clogged up.
Yeah. And so then the plastic, that can last for 5 years,
yes,
right?
Yes, at least.
And then the fans, obviously, I mean, they're probably longer, right?
Yep. I haven't had to replace any of those yet. So,
okay.
One of the things we haven't talked about is, and it goes back to an advantage. Well, it's both.
Yeah.
Advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah.
Is I have aeration fans that I have 2 layers of plastic on these. Okay. And so you aerate the air between those 2 layers of plastic. And what that does is gives you a heat barrier, a cold barrier. It gives you an insulated value between the barriers. So that helps a lot, but it also, if you have fans that go bad or whatever, you got to replace those. So I have had some of those fans go bad, because you run those 24/7. Yeah. So, and
how do they stand up to the wind?
Actually, it helps by having those inflated, because with their inflated, it's tight. I don't have this one and this one on right now. I have that one on. You can see the difference. That one's being inflated and it's tight. These are kind of wobbly, so that wind doesn't get caught as much on a one that is inflated. Yeah. So it does help with that.
Interesting.
But yeah, if you get a high wind, that is definitely a maintenance issue.
Yeah.
So
okay. Okay, to recap our video, is our high tunnels worth it? What would you say?
Absolutely, yes.
So I think so too. I'm actually excited in the future sometime. I'm looking forward to getting one myself. So definitely worth it. But we want to ask about you and when you start. So tell us again, when did you start the farm? Was it
2016 is when we started the farm? Really started farming 2 years after that, so like 2018-ish. So
okay, yeah. And the name of your farm is?
We are called Papa Dur's Produce.
Papa Dur's.
Yep, the Anders family farm, and we are located in Plymouth, Indiana. Okay. We're at 120 South Oak Road in Plymouth. Right now we're in the middle of pumpkin season and mum season, as you can see in the background.
Yeah, these look gorgeous.
We're in the middle of selling our mums, and so we're open weekly.
You have a stand, right?
Yes, we do.
Where's that?
At 120 North Oak.
Okay, so that's the farm stand.
That's the farm stand location, and we are open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday 1 to 6-ish right now. Yeah. And then we just open Sundays too, so people want to come out with their family on Sunday, they can do that. And
then how early can people start buying stuff from you? When's the market open?
We open for vegetables in late May, early June.
Okay. And then you go till November?
Yeah, we're going through October 31st. So,
October 31st.
Yep.
Okay. And then you also sell some things at a restaurant.
we do. We sell some of the tomatoes
Okay.
at a restaurant, and I also work with a food bank that I sell lots of food to. So they've gotten a grant to get fresh produce to give to their clients, and we are happy to help them do that.
That's amazing. Okay, so you got lots of options.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for letting us come
Pleasure.
and visit and learn. We are very excited. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.